The couple who set up a GoFundMe account for a homeless man who gave his last $20 to help him get gas is denying they've done anything wrong with the money. But while more than $400,000 was raised, there are questions about where the money went.
They say they've done nothing wrong. Kate McClure and Mark D'Amico are telling their side of the story following allegations by a homeless vet that they mishandled more than $400,000 raised for him on GoFundMe.
Were you in control of the funds from the beginning? Like you did?
Yes.
Why didn't you just
Yes.
cut him a check? Why didn't that happen?
Well, in the beginning, it was as simple as he didn't have a bank account.
Okay.
He had no documents, no ID, no birth certificate, nothing.
Okay, Porkchop, can you hear me? Unmute your microphone.
We're good to go. Good to go.
Okay, so what we're doing is we decided we're going to have a podcast about GoFundMe campaigns. Really, it all stemmed from the audio that you heard just a second ago, where the homeless guy and that couple pretty much scammed everybody. Their story went viral, and so all these people donated, and then we're like, well, where's our money going to come from? And then GoFundMe was like, well, we never said we were going to pay people back, but I think they finally did or whatever. But anyway, that's where this all comes from. So the whole purpose is through a vetting process. I'll talk to people and just make sure that they're legit, make sure that if you are going to give, so the idea is this, right? I forget the internet. I walk up to a donation stand and there are 15 people there, and I start talking to these 15 people, and I'm like, okay, so what is your issue? And then legitimately just dig in and go, okay, well, this is everything I would want to know before I gave somebody my money if I did not know them personally, right? So that's kind of the gist of it. A little piece of it that we're you want to make sure that everybody's aware of is there's no way that you could get to the head of the line or anything like that. So you couldn't give us money. We're not going to take advertisement for the first half of the podcast. You couldn't give us money or anything like that to get to the head of the line or whatever, right? So that's my half of it, and I'm gonna play an interview that I did with Jason and Erin Shaidnagle. Really, honestly, it's just the first people that reached out to us. Me and Porkchop, we shared a few different links or whatever. But yeah, so that being said, that's going to be what I'm going to do on my half, and then Porkchop is going to come in with any kind of follow-up questions or whatever. I'm going to let you guys know that this is the first time that we've ever done this, him and I. So the interview is 47 minutes long. Right, it's very long, but there's a lot of good information in there. And another piece of it is Porkchop only knows that Jason and Erin have a campaign, and that campaign is for spinal surgery, whatever, right? He hasn't dug into it. He hasn't talked to them. He knows nothing else. So his role is really to be spontaneous, really to like kind of be like the third party that walked up on the conversation, and then maybe he missed part of it or whatever, and then he goes, okay, well here's some questions that I have, right? So I'm initial contactee. He's the guy that walks up and goes, oh, let me hear about this too, right? So and I'm gonna quit saying so as much. Anyway, that being said, Porkchop, and my name's Thomas, by the way, and up at the top right corner of the screen, you can see we got the little slideshow going, and there's a tiny URL that we did for their donation, and then there's our contact information as well. And we're not going to take any, that's something else. None of the money will forward through us, like any of our links, like on social media. And I didn't get it on the website yet. I'm going to get it on the website. That was just my bad. I got to fix a few links on there, but they'll all go directly to that week's podcasts, donation campaign or whatever. So this week it'll be all our links directly to Jason and Erin's campaign. And then we'll do an archive, and we'll keep the link for the previous podcast. But then after that, we'll remove links because we feel there has to be a cutoff. There can't be this infinite stream link to donation campaigns that may or may not exist anymore, right? So, yeah. All right, I can turn the audio up. I turned it down on purpose because I didn't want to be too loud. So let me turn the audio up. Tell me if that's better. Porkchop hasn't really talked yet. I can turn his up too. All right. So I'm gonna pass it over to Porkchop. Sweet, good deal. Tell him or tell them, your side of things and your take on it.
All right. For those who know me and for those who don't, in this stream, I will be known as Porkchop because that's my real nickname. That's my real nickname in life. For those who know me on Twitch, I'm Orcs Make Beautiful Lovers. Neil approached me a couple months ago to do this crowdfunded podcast because he wanted to vet and authenticate. Is that the right word I'm looking? Sure. Different crowdsourced campaigns, because in this day and age, it's easy to take advantage of market, of people, of just generosity in general. So that's his part. My part, he's the human element. He'll be getting deeper into what people need. My other hand I'm
gonna be digging into the cancer. I'm gonna be digging into the cancer, and I'm gonna be digging into the burned down houses and all the really sad shit. That's what I'm gonna be doing. And then Porkchop is gonna be like, "Hey, look at this." We'll finish. Finish.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to bring it up a little bit. I'll bring in events or maybe products or just general ideas that get brought up that people may be interested in. Maybe I'm interested in it. Maybe you're interested in it. Maybe other people. So that's my part, is that he's human, and I'm like, hey, look at this thing. Oh wow, it's neat. So other than that, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah. So I'm gonna make you sad. I'm gonna make you really sad, and I'm gonna make you want to give money to people. And he's gonna be like, hey, also, if you got a little extra money, look at this super cool thing that I found. And on his end, we will totally whore ourselves out, advertisers, whatever, on the second half, right? But if things happen, and so people can get to the front of the line that way. But I'm going to tell you, like, he's going to vet it too. If it comes down to that, and he could talk to people, and he could get on the phone with people, and they really want to go, hey, we really come check our thing out or whatever. If he finds it's a piece of shit, he's going to tell you it's a piece of shit, and we're going to keep your money too, right? Like, that's the integrity part of it, right? Anyway, so that's it. That's the introduction to the podcast, right? It was going to be the crowd-funded podcast, but then crowd-funded pod came about because of character limitations in your usernames, and I thought it sounded cooler, so that's what it is now. Yeah, anyway, all right, that being said, you're not going to listen to us anymore. What's going to happen is, well, you kind of are. I'm going to play the interview up at the top of the screen. I haven't tried this through the stream yet, so if you guys can't hear the audio, please tell me, and then we'll figure a way real quick to do the audio differently, or play it differently. But that'll cover me up, and then you'll see Porkchop watching it on the bottom right corner. We're going to keep that going.
Actually, I also got the stream to work, so I'm going to be watching it live with them. It'll take a couple seconds for me to catch up because I'm like 10 seconds behind. So like the chat themselves,
that's cool.
And we'll see it at the same time.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's fine. And we were going to play it through his phone because he's out in the sticks and has DSL, so he's limited on what he can do on his end. And then I've got cable, and honestly, it's not very much better. Anyway, that being said, I'm going to play that now, kind of mute myself. You'll see Porkchop watch it as you watch it. And it's 47 minutes long, but it's a good conversation. I do think that. Sorry it's so long, though. Okay, so I've got Jason and Erin Shaidnagle. I know Jason from high school. We haven't seen each other in like 13 years, something like that, I think is what you said, right? It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Jason's so Jason's a few years behind me, not very much, but a few years. And I think you guys did Little Abner, right? Was that the first play that you did? Was Little Abner? Yeah.
No, we did.
You did what?
Oklahoma.
Oh yeah, Oklahoma. Yeah, that's right.
We did Oklahoma.
Yeah, okay. I remember that. Yeah. Yep. Because Chance and all that. Right. We'll talk about that later. Anyway, so we sent out looking, for people to had campaigns, knew anybody in need, and Porkchop actually. I don't know how he came across you guys. I know you guys were already Facebook friends, but he, said, hey, he texted me, and so I looked at it, and at first I was like, who's Erin Shaidnagle, and then I went, oh, it's Shad, right? So anyway, so that being said, Jason's had to have some spinal surgery, and because of that, he has been working. I want you guys to know this. Jason has not been out of work. Okay.
Nope. This is the company I work for.
Yeah, look at him representing right there, trying to get some good smoozing in, right?
Yep.
So anyway, Jason was working part-time and going to trade school to become a machinist, and because of that, he wasn't insured, right? And so now he is full-time, but he's waiting for that, that obligatory. I'm the new guy time frame. What is it called? With that 3 months, your probation. Yeah, the probation, right? And then I think in May 1st, is that right?
Yeah.
That's when his insurance kicks in, right? So he's had to have this surgery, and obviously, the bills are there, right? So I've said this before. Well, I haven't said this before. I guess technically, because this is before the live podcast, this is the first time I'm going to say this, but I'm going to say this in the live podcast. So, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. This is not the first time I've said this, and I'll say it again.
That works.
Yeah. But I have verified that pretty much, look, they are in need. Okay. So that's all I'll say. I will not tell anybody other than people I'm talking to about my process, right? So, for listeners in Radio Land, that's I trust them. So that's my seal of approval. I'm telling you guys right now, I trust them. And so first, all right. So Jason, go ahead, and I'm gonna kind of shut up now. But just tell us, how. I know you had mentioned about always just having back problems. We all always have back problems, right? But really, where at the point where you went, okay, I'm seeing this doctor, and this doctor's like, dude, you got a problem.
Yeah. Well, like you said, I've had issues with sciatica since I was probably about 19. And it's always been on and off, minor aches and pains, that kind of thing. Every so often I'd have to go see a doctor, get, like a steroid pack or some kind of, cortisol shot in my back, and it would be fine. But uh, um, it was
Okay, you guys froze up on me.
Thursday
Okay.
of last week. And
Okay, hold on.
sorry.
Hold on, you froze up on me.
What was the last thing you heard?
The last thing I heard was Thursday of last week.
Okay, yeah. It was Thursday of last week, which when would that be? It would be like March 28th. This past this past week.
Specifics or whatever, it's fine. It's April 5th, so a couple weeks ago, whatever. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And
week and a day.
yeah, something like that. But so I quit smoking a week previously, and there was a lot of coughing going on, and I've had coughing.
Sorry, I'm sitting here.
My sciatica flare before.
I'm sorry, I'm hitting my jewel right in front of you. My bad. Anyway.
Oh no, it's all good. I got my little pod thing here.
Oh yeah, that's what I got. I got the jewel. They're amazing. I did vape for like a year and a half, and I would go back to cigarettes all the time, but I haven't since this. Yeah, that is not an endorsement. I'm just saying, unless you guys want to be advertisers.
No.
Anyway, so yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
But yeah, but I've always coughed with my whole body, like my abdomen, lower torso, all that stuff. And all of a sudden, I just had a really bad coughing fit, and I felt a pop, and I was like, okay, this is probably gonna hurt. This has happened before. I can just schedule an appointment with a doc, go in, tell them what's going on, get that taken care of. But instead of pain, it actually just went numb from like where the top of my butt was, all the way down to the backs of my thighs, right to above my knee and on the back side. And I actually lost sensation in my groin too. And I was just like, okay, this is new.
Wow, man.
And
yeah. So no, I mean, like, just as a guy, right? And one of the things
it was a little unsettling.
Yeah, because me and Porkchop said, look, we're even in the serious stuff, we're just trying to be humorous. Like, man, like, I don't want my balls to be numb. That sucks.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like
if anything will get a man to the doctor, that will get a man to the doctor. Something is wrong there. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely. And I was like, okay, well, before I do anything drastic, I'm going to go to a chiropractor. So I was able to schedule an appointment for the next day. I went in, he did a little on-site X-ray, and he's like, okay, you've either got a herniated disc in your L5 area, or you've got some serious degeneration. And I was like, all right. So
like, we all know spine stuff is like L whatever. Like, I mean, I'm assuming, like, my mom does this to me, and I just whatever. But like, L is lower. Is that what that means? I mean, I don't.
Lumbar.
Okay.
The L4, L5, and the L5 S1. Those are the two discs, like where your hips are.
Okay.
Well, it's like where your hips are directly above it. And he could only see the L5. And he said, okay, there's either a lot of degeneration or you've got a herniated disc. He said, I'm going to do what I can, nothing too serious. But, if over the weekend things don't improve, go to the hospital. Yeah. I said, okay.
Yeah.
So Saturday, she got off work and she was going to come try to take care of me. And I said, I really think we need to go to the hospital. So we went to a local emergency room in Ocean Springs, and they did 3 MRIs. Which is they did neck, torso, and the sacral scans, and they were like, okay, you guys are going to Ochsner tonight, not tomorrow, tonight. You're going now. And we were just like, okay.
Drive safe, but don't take your time.
Right? Yeah.
Get there.
Yeah. And so we're like, okay. So they had me doped up, so I was kind of out of it the whole way there. But
so wait a minute.
Next thing
they had you drive yourself.
Well,
they gave us the option. I mean, no, he didn't drive himself. I drove him.
She drove.
He could not drive.
And you drove from Ocean Springs to Oxford, you said? So we're talking
Ochsner,
New Orleans.
Ochsner in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're talking like a couple hours then?
Yeah, it was like a 2-hour drive.
Okay. See, I thought you said Oxford, and I was like, whoa, man, that's like 6-7 hours.
No. I would have requested an ambulance if it was that long.
They would have airlifted you for that, But okay, all right. Okay, so this is the name of the hospital down in New Orleans that you guys went to. Okay.
option.
Okay.
And it's actually one of the best. They have one of the best neurosurgeons in this part of the country, in the Southeast. But they were not ready for us. Yeah, they took their time. They didn't have anything set up, so we kind of had to sit through and wait for that. And I was still out of it, so she was over here stressed out, having to do most of the talking. And that was Saturday night, and they had me set up for emergency surgery that Sunday morning. What time was it? 7?
You went in at 7.
Yeah, I went in at 7. I got out a little after 10, and they were kind of they wouldn't let her see me in the back because it was the weekend, and she kind of lost her temper with them. And I came to it, and I was just like, "Where's my wife?" And they said, "I don't know, but there's someone out there making a big scene." And I was like, "That's my wife. Let her."
So I'll tell you the story when we get off here. And maybe as a bonus episode, if we get some Patreons or something in the future, I'll tell you guys a story of why I'm not allowed at Forest General Hospital anymore unless it's an emergency or a family member. And hey, look, it's a good story, and it was the right thing to do. I want to stress that it was still the right thing to do. But yeah, anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
So they finally got me. Finally, they had me sewn up and everything, and they were just kind of waiting to get me into a room. And the doctor was kind of telling her what went down. As they gave me a laminectomy.
Laminectomy.
Yeah, laminectomy. I had what was called
Quadriquina.
Yeah, quadriquina syndrome, and that's where the spinal root goes all the way down through the tailbone, and it looks like a horse's tail. And because of the I had 2 herniated discs, and it was the L4, L5, and the L5S1, which are basically the bottom 2 discs.
Okay.
And they had to go in and do partial removal on those. But because of that L4 or the L5S1, that controls like sensation in the lower abdomen and groin areas. So, they're like, it's going to take time to come back as far as sensation goes, and you may not get it all back. But, I was just like, I'm just glad we got it addressed. Yeah. Well, they said we were fortunate that we caught it as soon as we did.
Hey, you know what?
So,
have you ever seen, Orgasmo? Did you ever see Orgasmo? You're neutered, man. You are neutered, man. You're a freaking supervillain now. It's amazing. You are Ron Jeremy. So
I hope not. I really hope not.
There's so much wrong with that. I don't even know where to start.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I think she would be more devastated than I would.
I mean,
if you suddenly turned into Ron Jeremy, definitely.
If it makes you feel better about the situation at all, you're a supervillain. Well, there you go.
Oh yeah,
there is a movie about your life.
I'll have a right to be a grumpy old man with a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Hey,
only been married.
Hey, the stamina will be pretty great, right? I mean, hey,
yeah.
I'm just saying. Anyway, so
yeah.
all right. So what did? So basically, they had to remove the deteriorated discs at the bottom, and your spine had just kind of like let loose, like they didn't have any soil keeping it in, and now it's just kind of just like dangling and rooting down, like you said.
They did a partial removal, so there's enough structure left to hold it up, but it's
for a time.
Yeah. So
okay,
there's a possibility of
I got you.
regeneration in the future.
Okay.
So I've got to be really careful about that. But
what was happening was that the discs were pushing on the nerve roots, which is where the numbness came from.
I get it. And it's pitching it off and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And because of this sciatica, this probably was going on for a while.
Probably a few years, and I just didn't realize it.
He just didn't know it because he was in so much pain elsewhere.
Okay. No, I totally get that. But the pain elsewhere, like my mom went through that, right? She's had whatever sciatica. I don't remember. I don't know what it exactly is, but I get the picture. But same thing. I understand. She had all this pain other places, and it's because her back was screwed up and the signals were getting sent, like messed up. Like I get that, right? And that's insane because you got all this pain in your knee and years, and then you find out, oh no, it was my back's telling my knee it was in pain, right? Yeah, no, I get that. So, all right, so yeah, that and something else about all this that I didn't realize until just now is this is just quick. Like I thought you knew about this, and we scheduled a surgery, and the surgery was going to be, all right, it was a month or two down the road, because whatever. No, you found out about this, and they were like, you got to go have surgery on your back now.
Yeah, it was over the span of literally 3 days. 3 days that the whole sequence of events happened. So
and here you are, and you're sitting up, and it's April 5th, and that was what day did you have your surgery?
Second.
No. We got discharged. I got discharged the second. It was the 30th. No, we had it the 31st.
It's been a.
The surgery was the 31st, and because I had as much strength and mobility that I did before they went in for the surgery, I was able to get up and walk around the next day after the surgery. And I pretty much told them, I said, you can either supervise me getting up out of bed, or you can sedate me, but I'm getting up out of bed.
You're a super villain. You're a mother effing super villain.
I just, I was antsy. I was tired of being in the bed.
I don't know if we can keep doing this. I mean, the podcast with you, man. I mean, you're a super villain. I find it really hard to try to help a super villain. I can't.
Yeah.
I mean,
Also change his way or something.
Well, okay. If you can promise me now that you're going to change your ways, right? Like,
she's my kryptonite. She keeps me in check.
No, look how sweet that was. Aw, she's going to cry. Okay, so... Wow, man, that's crazy. Okay, so now let's talk. So let's talk about what they actually did, right? So you kind of went into it, but I didn't understand it. So give me a good like 2-minute synopsis, right?
Okay. All right. They went in to my lower back, right where my hips are, and they made a small, and it was a 14 millimeter.
Two of them.
Two 14 millimeter incisions, one right above my hips, and then one lower in my hips. And they went in, and they, I'm assuming laparoscopically, they removed the portions of the herniated discs that were bulging, and then they sewed me up. And that's pretty much a quick overview. They
did a little bit of adjusting the nerves that had been displaced.
Oh, see, I don't remember. I didn't.
You were a little out of it.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I'd be surprised if you remember that. Come on.
Just kind of try to get everything back to its most comfortable position, ideally.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you're telling me is they duct taped you. They cut some stuff out and they duct taped you because this is something that you haven't said in anything that we haven't talked that much. We've had a phone call before now, right, and a couple messages here and there, but you're gonna have to have more surgery. Is this right?
Not necessarily. There's a possibility that it can, if I'm not careful. But especially if I don't lose more weight. But fortunately, with my current job, it's in a shop environment, so I'm moving and I'm sweating a lot. So I think I've lost about 40 pounds in the last 6 months.
Nice. I've done 24 since January, I think. Like I've gotten up almost 240 again, or I was like 236, and now I'm at 212, right? So, cool, good deal, man. That's awesome.
We're trying to keep it happening.
Well, that's the good thing. Instead of removing the whole disc, they were able to leave a good amount.
Okay.
Behind. And so, if he doesn't change anything, we delayed the inevitable. If he continues to make positive changes, there's a very good chance he may not need back surgery in the future.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, and we talked about this too, and this is a little off topic, but I mean, the younger you are with back surgery, the better, right? So if you're going to make that decision, it's something you're going to want to make quickly, right? And yeah, so anyway, all right. So medication wise, pain wise, like what kind? I mean, really, I mean, you're obviously talking to me. I mean, it's 10 o'clock at night there. Right, I mean, you're lucid, obviously you're not just lucid. I mean, you're awake, you're whatever, you seem fine. But that being said, what kind of pain are you really masking, right? Like,
not all a whole lot, surprisingly. I'm actually taking a non-narcotic painkiller. It's a synthetic opioid called Ultram, which it's a couple steps up.
Yeah, sorry. Well, I'm saying I know they don't know. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, I'm like, oh no,
But
I know Ultram. Yeah, so it's a muscle relaxer. It's basically like Xanax and muscle relaxer, but it's not an opioid. I got you. It's very light on the opiate side of things. I know what you're saying. Yeah. But they'll put you to sleep, basically. They'll make you feel okay, and they'll put you to sleep, relaxed and okay. Which explains why you're just so cool and calm right now if you're taking Ultram. Okay. So now that being said, Erin, how much pain is he masking?
I kind of think part of it is we're just so relieved. I think a lot of it is just kind of our outlook and perspective, like considering how out of nowhere this was, and how bad it could be. I want to say our attitude has carried us through a lot. And also he doesn't have a whole lot of sensation back yet. So I think,
true. I mean, we're
not, yeah, we're not even a week out yet. And so I think we may be in for more pain. Maybe not, hopefully not.
I know. I understand.
I understand. I would say he's a pretty good patient. He doesn't complain unless it's really bad, and that hasn't happened much, and he doesn't push himself too much, but he's not just laying around. He wants to get better. He's doing all the exercises they sent us home with, and
good.
Plus on his work.
Good.
And he misses work.
Yeah, I mean, this is one thing I want to say right now, and it's something I truly believe, and I think Porkchop does too, is all about helping people who are also helping themselves, right? Like, I mean, if you're not willing to help yourself, then you just don't deserve it. I'm sorry, right? Like, I mean, I'm not gonna let your kids starve, but you're gonna be working to get your own self out too. So I like that. I really do.
Oh yeah.
And even if it is just like I'm doing my exercises, whatever, you're doing what you're supposed to, and that's good, right? So, okay, so yeah, I do think that you're right that you guys may be in for some more pain than what you are now, right? But like just keep your head up, all that stuff. Just keep do what she tells you to do, not what you want to do. Okay, like I mean, like that's from one guy, to another. But like it, yeah. Let her be your mom right now and just take care of you and all that, right? But and I get it too, what you're saying about the euphoria of just being relieved that it's over and all that. Because I mean, honestly, if it's been a week, you guys have been riding that shock, just riding that shock wave. Ha ha ha! See what I did there? So you're just riding that shock all the way, right? You shock of finding it out, getting doped up, getting taken to the hospital. Then just the worry of what's going to happen. Okay, now this is what's going to happen, and like you just like you're sitting on the roller coaster at that point, really, because you can't do anything. You got to let the doctors do whatever, right? You just got to sit there and worry. If I tell you not to think about sunshine and rainbows, you're going to think about sunshine and rainbows, right? So, like, that's what you're dealing with for a few days. And then, now the relief, and I'm sure a lot of the old pain is already starting to go away, too. That's something else that kind of makes this a mixture. Yeah.
I may not be in as much because I'm so used to dealing with all the pain I had previously and just didn't realize it. So,
yeah, and now that's gone, so it's really been kind of good with this. No, I get that, right? Like, so it's kind of like a 50-50. I got this new pain, but this old pain's gone, right? So it may even be just, I'm used to this, right? So just in a different spot. But, yeah, okay, so now let's talk about money, because I think probably should get that out of the way, right? You guys, all in all, I know that you don't have an official financial statement from the hospital, official bill right now, but you have showed me as part of the verify, and I'll say this, like they have showed me, the actual proof of the surgery and stuff like that, right? So, all in all, I think your campaign was at $5,000. Is that what you guys had it set at? Okay, so
yeah, that's what my mom came up with.
Yeah, her mother said it.
And I think I'm from California. My whole family's from California, and so I think that was just kind of my mom's way of doing something.
Right now, by the way, so I'm pretty close to California.
Yeah, we're in Louisiana right now because that's where we ended up with the hospital and where I live. He's still living in Mississippi. But
How long have you guys been married?
my mom, just a month.
A little over a month, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So you guys have been married a month, and
Yep.
and then this happens like a month in the honeymoon phase. Wow.
Yeah. I know she really loves me because she's wiped my butt. So
Oh yeah, we talked about that. Yeah. That's wow. Because
Yeah,
that Rodney Carrington thing totally fits, doesn't it? Wow. Because you guys have been married like a month. Yeah. That's all right. So for people watching, Rodney Carrington's this really dirty redneck comedian, but the old album he talks about breaking his arms and his wife wiping his butt the first week of their marriage or something like that for 6 months. Anyway, so yeah.
I feel like it's going to stand the test of time because if that didn't scare her away, I don't know what will.
Man, that's gross. Like they need to make something, right? Like they really do. Like they need to make like something you back up to or something like that. That's just or bidet. I guess that's what they do. It's called a bidet. You should.
Yeah.
There you go. Anyway, that's why let's not talk about that anymore. So, I know, right? Like, anyway, wow, the way that conversations get sidetracked, Anyway, so, all right, so money wise, ballpark, don't necessarily have to say how much that it is going to cost, but if you could say that $5,000, like how you came up with that and how much of that you think of the cost that it's going to cover, I think that would be the right information to deliver.
I have no idea what my mom was thinking. I think she just threw a number out there. I think she knew that I was going to be out of work for a time, just taking care of him, that he was going to be out of work even longer, and just missed income alone, trying to meet our needs because we are still living separately. So it's 2 rents and 2 power bills. And I think she just kind of threw that out there.
Yes, and I want to touch on this real quick. That is something that people don't think about, right? And it is when you buy your insurance. Everybody out there, listen to me. Pay the $3 a month for that. The emergency, whatever it's called, right? I can't remember. What is it? What's it? You guys know what it's called?
Gap insurance?
Yeah.
No, Gap's on your car.
What is it?
It's like the emergency. It's the emergency leave money or whatever is what it is, right? Like you guys know what I'm talking about, and somebody can message me later and go, "Oh, you're stupid. This is what it was." Anyway, but do it because you never know when something like this is going to happen, right? And in Jason's case, I mean, his insurance hadn't kicked in yet, but I'm just saying, guys, like. My mom, she'll probably hate me for saying this, but the first time she ever had to do anything to do with her heart attack, I think it was, she didn't have it, right? So she didn't have any of that money for all that time, right? So, but that plays into this, right? I mean, your rent, your bills, your food, your gas, going to the doctor, getting your pain medication, like these bills add up, and that's why these campaigns, I think, are important for people who just, you just don't see things coming, right? I mean, I know me. I know exactly what I would do in your situation. I'd be like, I just got to be safe for 3 months. Like you put that thought in your head. I mean, 2 weeks ago, I had a car.
That's exactly why I drove from Mississippi to Louisiana, because we both knew, even he was heavily intoxicated from the meds they gave him, and we both knew instantly, that look, like we can't afford you to take an ambulance from Mississippi to Louisiana. There's just no way.
I knew that's why you guys made that choice, but I wanted to wait, right? But it's why anybody makes that choice. How many rednecks have I heard, and I'm a redneck, I can say that's my people. So how many rednecks have I heard go, you better not put me in that ambulance, you better put me in the back of the truck, right? Because they don't want to pay the $500 to take him to the damn, hospital, right? So, I mean, I get that, right? And whatever. I would probably do it too if I didn't think so. I mean, I've done it when I had kidney stones. Don't call the ambulance. You put me in a car, right? So.
Well, and it was scary just thinking, because the nurse had told us, like, don't drive recklessly. Don't go to, don't drive recklessly, but don't take your time getting there. You need to get there now. And what Googling I had done, it seemed like a very time-sensitive thing. The longer we waited, the less likely that he'll get feeling back. So I'm sitting there driving, 11:30 at night.
All night,
trying
all
not
night
to
10, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Where it's 85 miles an hour, even though the speed limit's 70, right? No, I get it. Yep.
on a Friday night.
Do what now?
Going into New Orleans.
Across the twin spans. Oh yeah, man. Oh,
Saturday night.
Twin spans is scary. Ooh, it's scary. I hate, like, dude. So like, side note, but I was in Katrina in Gulfport in Biloxi, right? Like, I lived down there when it happened. So I rode the storm out in Long Beach, right? So yeah, no. I was like, I was literally, I could see the train tracks. The train tracks before the beach. So I'm like, like a half mile from the beach, right? And like the train tracks, because it's off the ground, made a levee, so that's actually saved me from getting flooded, right? But anyway, because of that, I went into New Orleans not too long after Katrina. I went down there for Halloween and stuff. We went for what's Voodoo Fest and everything, right? And so like the twin spans, man, that was scary because you had to cross bridges, like. Part of the bridge was gone because the storm had blown it into the water, and however many I don't know. I've honestly never looked how tall the twin spans are because it scares me so bad. I know I need updates. That's gonna be on the recording now. But anyway, so like I had to hop between, like, you have to hop between the bridges, and everybody was still going that fast. And it's like the hurricane just happened 2 months ago, and you put up these little temporary things for me to drive, like, across bridges that were never meant to be driven across. Like, it was so scary. Anyway, all right, so yeah, like,
why am I trying to go to a pontoon bridge?
Oh my god.
It's not much better now.
Well, no, it's not. Look, I swear to God, ever since Katrina, like, I have anxiety about that bridge because I'm like, they missed something. I don't care how long it's been, they missed something. That thing's gonna fall. Anyway, that's okay. So, sorry guys for the podcast. I'll get better at not getting sidetracked. Anyway, so okay. So all that being said, right? So I mean, honestly, dude, $5,000 is not gonna cover it. $5,000 will cover your rent and stuff, right? And I don't know how many people this is going to reach. I hope it helps. If you guys get $100 out of it, I hope so. Right? I know I looked at your GoFundMe.
Reaching fast. So.
I know the one of the ladies that spoke to us during the discharge. She said there's a possibility that we could have most of it written off. We're gonna try and pursue that. I know they've already done a little bit.
Is that what they mean?
Yeah, for them, if they write it off, it'll be on their taxes.
It'll benefit them too.
Okay, so yeah, no, I got you. So there, because you guys, a unique situation, and it's like, oh, this is charitable from them. It could definitely significantly reduce the cost of what you're gonna have to pay them. Is what you're trying to tell me? Okay.
Yeah, so we're pushing that. So hopefully, I know they've already done. They've discounted a little over 50% off of the actual cost of the stay in the room. That's the only thing that they've posted so far.
So this is a dirty little
which
secret.
I was excited.
Well, yeah, but this is a dirty little secret, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys this, and nobody knows, and it's one thing that I'm not going to get too conservative on this right now because it's not about my politics, but the cash price is a lot less than the insurance price. The insurance price is the negotiated rate. The negotiated rate is what the hospital and the big conglomerate of whatever, because all the insurance companies are conglomerates of whatever, right? But what they negotiate, like Blue Cross Blue Shield, for instance, not picking on them, just saying, they negotiate with the hospital and say, we will pay 70% of your rate. And the hospital will accept that. So then what they do is they charge, 130% to make up that 30%, right? And so, and then but it's Blue Cross Blue Shield's only paying 70. So it's really just a shell game, and it's a pyramid, and it is ridiculous. But because of that, that's the insurance price. A lot of times you go into the doctor's office, the hospital, wherever, and you don't do your insurance. If it's something minor, you get the cash price, you pay less than you would through your insurance. So that's why they knocked 50% off, because you got the cash price. Anyway, that's
we actually looked online just to try and get a ballpark estimate, and the first thing that popped up, it was saying a reasonable price for the surgery I got was between $5,000 and $8,000, and I was like, okay. And then I looked at another one, and it said it was between $50,000 and $77,000. I was like, huh? And she was like, that's the difference between the cash price and the insurance price.
That's
right.
Like,
Jesus.
That's
so
right.
we may have actually gotten out of this a little cheaper without me having insurance.
Well, but there's also your max. Well, okay. So this should not be a podcast about insurance. I will do a bonus episode to give you the layman's guide about insurance one day, because as an adult with now 2 children, I have decided I will become an insurance expert every November. So I will explain all. That's why I was like that thing that I can't remember, and I feel stupid for not remembering it. Now I'm calling myself a layman expert. But anyway, so like we'll go over that another time. But yeah, the cash price versus the insurance price, whatever, right? But even so, that's, you just gave us a number that's bigger than what you're even asking, and that's not, and that has nothing to do with your rent and all that. So the way that I'm seeing this is your campaign that you guys set up is really, if you can max it out at the $5,000, would probably cover all the other stuff, not the bills for the actual surgery. And I think that's
it would just keep us going so we can pay the bills.
Yeah,
I think that's perfectly acceptable. I absolutely do. And we're gonna wrap this up here in just a minute, but I do want to touch on one thing that you guys mentioned. Why are you living separately?
Well, she works in Louisiana, and I work almost in Alabama. We actually, when we met, she was going to culinary school. She was like, I've got to go to culinary school. It's going to be in Baton Rouge, and I was just like, okay. Yeah. So she was surprised.
I've been taught by a master chef out of one of those culinary schools in Baton Rouge, man. You want to learn how to cook Cajun? That's what you do. Good job, man. Awesome.
That's why I moved down here, but it turns out I met my husband instead. So
right on. Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So she was already working in like near Covington.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, near Covington.
Oh,
and she just lived in between work and school, and then she decided she has celiac, and the culinary school, some of the stuff that they were doing was really making that difficult for her. So she decided, just for health reasons, to just work full time. And we were working towards finding a place that would be kind of halfway between her work and my work. That way we could live under one roof and
that's
still
what we were
keep up.
supposed to do this weekend.
Yeah, that's what we were going to be doing this past weekend but life had other plans. So that was something we were working towards, is because we knew we were happier when we were able to be together in the same house.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're married. You should be living together and not under your mama's house, right? So anyway, that's right. Like, okay, so this is part of the vetting thing that I'm talking about here, right? Because, I mean, that's extra money that you guys don't need to be spending right now, right? So that being said, you live in like close to Covington, and where did you live, Shad?
I live in a little place called Van Cleve, Mississippi.
Oh, you live in Van Cleve. Okay, so you live like, I'm trying to remember where Van Cleve is. Is that like around like
It's north of Springs.
Say that again.
It's north of Ocean Springs. Probably about 10 to.
Yeah, so all the way across the coast then, right? Or am I getting Bay Springs and Ocean Springs mixed up?
No, you got it right. You got it right.
Okay, all right. So you have to. Man, that's like just an hour and a half just to her house, right, from there. And then how far do you work from where you live? I guess towards Mobile. Is that right?
Yeah. It's about 15 miles from my house to work. So
like a 20.
So it's really not that long.
Okay, so yeah, you need to get off your ass, and you need to be just living with her, dude. Like, that's what needs to happen. So all right, so I mean, that being said, what is preventing you from getting rid of your place right now, Jason? Like, is there a lease? I mean, this is obviously extenuating circumstances, so what's preventing you from getting out of it?
Mainly, we just wanted to have enough set aside to where we could afford. Most places, they want, the first and last month's deposit. I've got 2 cats and, pet deposit, security deposit, all that stuff. We wanted to have enough money set aside to where we could walk up to wherever and be like, hey, here's all the money for that, and we'd be able to get all the utilities cut on within the next day or two and just make a quick move into it and not have it drawn out.
Totally understand.
Yeah.
Life changed, right? So now we have to look at it from a different perspective. How long are you going to be out of work?
Minimum 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Possibly up to
what?
Possibly up to a month.
And that's best case scenario.
Okay, so here's the thing. She should not be out of work. She is physically able to work, but she can also take care of you. You need to be staying at her house. What can we do right now? What would it take to get your done with your home right now? What would it take?
I'm not really sure.
I think what's hard about that is because it would not be possible for him to get to work from here. It just wouldn't be.
Yes, but he's going to be out of work, and he needs to be close to you so you can take care of him and you can work, right? Because
I went back to work today.
She went back to work.
That's good. That's great, right?
I'm in a good enough position to where I'm able to get up, stand, go to the bathroom.
But that's why I'm talking about you. Like, what can we do to lessen the burden? It has to be from Jason's side, because right now, logically, it makes no sense from your side, right? So do you have, like, I'm assuming you have Wi-Fi, what are all your bills over there, right? So, okay, you can't break the lease right now, fine. What are all your bills?
Well, I'm just mainly paying off my credit cards, paying my rent, paying off.
So, no, I just meant your bills literally for the
bills there?
Yeah, there. What are your bills there?
Literally just rent. I'm renting a room from some family over there.
Oh, sweet.
For the cat.
Okay, sweet. So you don't even have to worry about utilities or anything like that. You got a flat rate that you're paying.
Yeah, just a flat rate.
That's fine. That's great. That's got to be way less than what I was thinking in my head, right?
Yeah. That's part of the reason why I'm not super stressed. Like the last paycheck I got, which my cousins should be picking it up and depositing it for me Monday. That's going to cover rent.
Oh, no, that's great,
for this
man.
month.
That's fantastic, right? Yeah. Then you're way better off than what I thought you were on that end, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Then if we're reversed, because I've got a full apartment, so.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. That's good, right? And because it's family, they know what's going on, and, family is family too, right? So I get, that's great. Okay. So then, yeah, that burden there is just not bad at all. So you my thinking is like, all right, so yeah, we got to lessen your bills too, right? So that's you helping yourself, right? So yeah, great. And as long as you guys are already thinking about that too, then I don't think you have anything that you need to do there, right? So good. And all right, so yeah, that's it. Like, that's really all I have. Like, that's the one thing that I was kind of iffy about that I wanted to talk to you. honestly, like everything lines up, and,
That's something that even still, I think I've been, noodling around in the back of my head. Like, maybe this is our push to find a place in the middle. And during, thinking about during all of this, should we just make this my last month here and try and find a place in the middle right now? And
I don't know if that's the good, but I'm not going to go in to give you advice. And right, like. Hey, I'm sorry, man. I didn't hear what you said because I cut you guys off and it did the noise.
No, it's okay. I was giving her a hard time saying, let's wait until I go back to work.
Yeah, exactly. See, I was about to do the same thing. Like, the guy in me was about to come out and be like, no. You wait till he goes back to work. And then I was like, nah, that's not your place. Shut up. So,
I put the back of my head.
Yeah. Like, anyway, at least we admit, like, if feminism has done anything, at least we admit when we're being jackasses now, like, whatever. And think about it a little more. But anyway, so that, all right, all that being said, right, I think we've pretty much, covered the gamut of it all. So, like, last thing, right, like, I don't, not, no, like, oh, please help me, bullshit, right? I know that's not, I just want you to know that's not what I'm asking you to do. But, like, last thing, man, anybody watching this, right, like, whatever you guys, I want to hear from Jason first and then Erin second, because she's really, it's happening to Jason, but she's taking care of it, right? I think we can all agree with that. So, Jason, go ahead, and then Erin, any final thoughts from you?
Well, I'm excited that, you guys approached us. I was just, thinking, we'll do a GoFundMe and we'll just roll with it and see what happens. What's a little bit more debt? That's how I approached it. I'm a very hard person to get rid of. Was the Irish are the hardest people to kill, that kind of thing. That's just kind of the mentality. That's the mentality we've had. You have to laugh in the face of hardship, otherwise, what's the point of living?
That's why we invented liquor, and so we wouldn't rule the world, right?
Right, exactly. So that's just kind of how I've had the mentality of it, and knowing that there is a whole lot more in the way of options out there, it does make me a lot more optimistic about things. And again, man, I really appreciate the opportunity.
No, look, man, I like, and I don't care. It's on the first podcast, right? But I mean, we've been putting out the flag for a week, and there was one other person that we had reached out to, but I honestly think I scared him off because I right off went how invasive I was going to be. I kind of learned that lesson. That's why with you guys, I was just at first, I was like, I'm going to be invasive. But yeah, no, look, man, the reason for this is we were just to help people and then to give people somebody trusted to give to, because you don't know, man. You like a stranger out there, maybe it's trending on something, but then even then, like, like those homeless people, that homeless guy and that couple, right? That went viral and it ripped all of America off. Not me, because I hadn't got paid yet. Sorry, guys. I hadn't got paid yet, and then I was really gonna do it. I was like, oh, I'm gonna give some money to this guy. This is heartwarming. And then the story about it being bogus came out, right? So I was like, oh, anyway. All right, sweet, yeah, but no need to say thank you or some shit thank you guys for coming on, like that. This is what it's for.
We are generally very appreciative, though. Like we've gotten a lot of support from family and friends, and it's been wonderful.
That's great, man. That's really.
It's been.
Yeah, Erin, now it's your turn.
I mean,
yeah, go for it.
My turn. I think I said it before. I think our point of view on everything, since we have been living apart, we just got to spend a whole week together,
That's great. That's great.
What was it you were praying we would have more time together, and landed me in the hospital.
That's what my preacher and my mom and everybody used to say, is like, God, there are no unanswered prayers. God, sometimes he says no, and then sometimes be careful what you pray for, right? Like,
I need to be more specific next time. I got that. I think for us,
it's like rubbing a lamp and getting your wish. Be as specific as possible, right?
As specific as possible. Yeah. I think we're both confident that everything's going to work out. I think this is a great idea, especially after that, scandal.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's cool to be a part of your project, and if it benefits us and helps. I mean, for me, if God can use this to help meet our needs, that's awesome. But we know that one way or another, it's going to work out, and every little bit helps. So, yeah.
I mean, yeah, like, guys, I hope maybe 10 people see this, right? Like I said, if we can get you $10, right? Like, I don't care. Like, I mean, I do care. I want to get you way more than that, right? But like, this portion of the podcast is not going to be about us, right? Like, it's not. Like I told you guys on the phone, we're not going to take any advertisers on this. There is literally no way to get you, in that form or fashion, you can get to the head of the table, or that we're going to put you out there, right? Like, we're not taking a percentage. All of our donate links come Sunday when the podcasts go live. Like I said, they'll all be directed to you guys, right? So, yeah, I hope it does take off, and I really hope that we get 200-300 people watch it, right? And all of them give you $5. I mean, that's $1,500, right? Like, I really hope we can get something like that going. So I really appreciate you guys being my guinea pig and taking time out of your night, right? And yeah, so yeah, don't hang up. I'm gonna stop recording, but don't hang up, okay?
All right.
Okay, so I've got Jason and Erin Shaidnagle. I know Jason from high school. Okay, so you should be able to hear me now. Let me stop the stream before I bring on the audio. That way. Alright, and Porkchop, you should be able to unmute your microphone now. Say something.
Alright, hello?
Oh, yeah, you're really loud. Let me turn that down. Okay. All right, you know what? It may just be my volume. There we go. Okay. All right, so that's the interview. It's 47 minutes long. I know, guys. I'm probably kicking myself way more than anybody else would, but next time I'll try to get it at least down to 30, maybe. All right. So Porkchop watched this for the first time, just like all of you. The only thing he knew going into it was that Jason had surgery on his spine, right? So, Porkchop, questions, thoughts? What's your take on it?
I'll go ahead and say this. That
and hold on, real quick, you guys, if he's super loud, tell me, because it may just be my volume, but he sounds really loud to me. All right, go ahead.
All right, so it's good to see that through all this, through the pain, the numbness, and the uncertainty, that he is keeping a good positive attitude about the whole situation.
Okay, well, let me turn it up. It is just on my end. All right, I turned it up, so she should be louder for you now.
All right.
Thank you.
One of the worst things that could happen in this situation is that you start to doubt, and the doubt, could, make it seem worse than it actually is. So it's actually good that he's trying to work, that he's trying to go through the pain. So that's a good thing to know. Second thing, you said that it was in the L5 part of the back. So and it sounded like they were going through the hip.
Nexvix 78. Thank you.
Thank you, Nex.
Okay.
They were going through the hip, so I'm guessing this is lower back. This is lower back.
Yeah, I mean, he said that. He did say that. Like, I mean, I that was where I was like lower, but he said it's lumbar, right? Which, I mean, I could have Googled it, but that's. Yeah. I mean, the whole point of this is you're not Googling people; you're just talking to them, right? So anyway, that yeah, I mean, it's lumbar. It's like the way he described it was pretty much the last pieces of his ass, his tailbone, right? So.
Okay, so now that we got the information, this part of the interview between me and Thomas, or Thomas and I, however you want to say it, we have a game in real life called "Would You Like to Buy a Tiger?" And pretty much is somebody brings up something, then the other person asks questions that what would you like to buy a tiger? Well, does it come with a cage? Yeah. No, it doesn't come with a cage, but it comes with a very strong chain. So these are going to be the would you like to buy a tiger question.
So let me give some backstory. Me and Porkchop have been friends since like kindergarten, right? Like our whole life we've been best friends, right?
Yes.
And I love you, boo boo. Anyway, so we just like we'll call each other with random things like I'm the best friend next. That's right, I am. Ha. Anyway, so where was I? Oh yeah, so like one time he calls me. I'm in line at Cane's in the fast food in the drive-thru, right? Raising Cane's chicken, it's freaking awesome. Went to Vegas, man. We don't have Raising Cane's in Utah, and we went to Vegas, and they were everywhere, and I was so excited. But anyway, so he calls me, and he's like, hey, man, I'm really scared, about the apocalypse. And my answer was, look, dude, I don't have time to talk about the apocalypse right now. I'm getting some chicken. I'll call you back. All right, so that's the kind of random stuff that, we'll do. And so, like, I don't know, a long time ago now, maybe 10 years ago, one day, he came over to my house. He's just like, hey, man, would you like to buy a tiger? And my answer was, I don't know. Does it come with a chain or a cage? And then this conversation has been ongoing for probably 10 years now, and it's became like a game, right? So like it just comes up randomly. Anyway, so that's kind of the same concept here, right? So I'm presenting the tiger, and now.
And the funny part about it is one time I actually found a link to buy a cub, and one time I was like, hey man, do you want to buy a tiger?
It was
exoticpets.com.
Yeah, but it's like I was watching. So okay, I'll full on, guys. Like we're gonna get long. So all right, we should stop this. But full disclosure, I've always been into talk radio, and then like now I'm completely into podcasts and stuff, right? And but it was who's blue collar comedy, Ron White. he was on Rogan, and now it's part of his stand-up, which I think is kind of interesting. Like, this is me getting sidetracked again, but if you watch like Bill Burr on Conan O'Brien, his entire new special will be laid out for you, and all the times he comes on Conan O'Brien, and he's trying out his new bits, and then you're like, oh, that's what you're doing. Anyway, so he was talking about that there are more tigers in Texas than anywhere else in the world. Like, because people in Texas are so rich and they have so much land, they just buy tigers and it's legal to own them there. So, like, anyway, I just thought that was really freaking crazy, right? And as a kid living in Houston, like, the white tigers at the Houston Zoo is this big thing, you know. But anyway, all right. So now Porkchop, let's back on track. All right.
Okay, back on track.
Yeah.
So you vet them, and you have full confidence in it. Like us, not even knowing them, because we both know them, you know. But so put that aside. You feel confident that the money's going, right?
Yeah, I mean, okay. So I mean, I knew him 13 years ago. You know, like his sister. You know, like we were in plays together and stuff, right? Like, but that's it. I mean, that's how I know them. And then I think you knew him from working at Walmart. And together on the night shift. He told me that when I was on the phone with him, and but that's still a long time ago too. That's at least 4 or 5 years ago. So, but anyway, we're kind of taking their personal relationship into play there. We are. It also doesn't help them doesn't hurt them that, you know, they're the only ones that responded. But as far as like putting them on the podcast. But they have showed me things that I've asked for to know that this is legitimate, and yeah, so I'll say that. So it's not, if they had contacted me, and I've told Porkchop this, if I get any little feeling about, you know, the shadiness, I just will walk away. Sorry for your time, and I'll walk away. And if I catch anybody that's really just pulling one over on, I'm trying to anyway, so somebody that's trying to scam everybody, then I'll definitely show that. But anyway, yeah, so they're legitimate to me. Yeah, absolutely.
Now with the $5,000, they're going to go with the $5,000 because of the hospital situation. What happens in this situation?
Look at that. Hold on. No, it's other people under a microscope. All right, go ahead.
Well, you got to think about Nexus.
Look, they are living in...
Nexus is from Georgia, so he's okay. He's okay.
Well, they're living in Louisiana, and I'm just saying. You know.
Yeah. Now, what happens in a situation where... because they don't have the actual number. They're just going by what they saw on the average. Are they going to reset? Do you know if they're going to reset the total, or they're just going to stick with the $5,000 in hopes that it goes?
No, like, so they're going to, like, they're not even asking for people to, like, cover the whole thing. You know, like, there's, this is something I'll say is, like, everybody, yeah, you can get under a large, heavy load with medical bills. You can. But the hospitals, they allow you to make payments, you know, as long as you set up a payment schedule, right? So this money, like, she said that the number was just kind of pulled out of thin air, but if they reach the top, they've talked to the billing department. They just don't have, it hasn't.
They haven't have all the information because this was like a week or so ago.
Yeah, well, billing departments are billing departments, right? Like I've known some people that were like medical transcriptionists or whatever it's called, and they get trained and they kind of work from home most of the time, like just, you know, online or whatever through a portal. But it just takes time for billing to get it, and then hospitals are always going to mail you a bill, and it's the South. Things are slower, right? So. But they've showed me things that I know that the surgery...
And it's Ochsner. And Ochsner is in a metropolitan area. It's in New York City. New Orleans. It's in New Orleans. And it's going to be very busy to begin with.
Yeah, well, you don't have to defend it anymore. But yeah, New Orleans is very bureaucratic, like any big city would be. Right? So anyway, but there are reasons, and they're acceptable reasons. And a lot of it is our rush to get this out. Anyway, but they have showed me proof this surgery is legitimate, right? Yeah. So back to what you were saying, Port. I'm sorry, I got sidetracked with this question.
Sorry, I'm in the process of sneezing, so if I look over to the side, don't forget. All right, last question I got right here is that, and the last question I'll have, and then we'll look at what just got posted.
Okay, next I'm gonna come back to your question. Okay. Yeah. No. Hold on. I'm sorry, man. All right. So Kellerax, yeah, we wouldn't put them on here. Nobody's disparaging anything. This is not going to be an argumentative piece, right? We totally understand, and next I'll come back to your question, and you're doing the exact right thing. Next, you are in so Kel, yeah, he's in, or she, I don't know, but is in the spirit of the same thing that I'm doing with them, right? So like even one of the that whole deal about the rent or whatever, that was kind of an asshole question, but I want to know these things, so yeah. Anyway, go ahead, Pork.
All right, the last question I got is pretty much is just a statement, and then I'm going to go off of the statement. He talks about right now he doesn't know if there's going to be any more work that needs to be done. He doesn't feel like there needs to be any work done, and it says that right now he's in the probation area of his job, which means I'm guessing all the benefits haven't kicked in. I guess in this situation you're not going to know, and nobody's really going to know, is that this is just putting it out there that maybe next time,
I'll do an update. I'll do an update. Like they'll tell me, like as forthcoming as they were with the things that I have seen already. They'll tell me. I'll do an update on our next podcast.
Well, in that case, then
I'll do a follow-up like little interview or something on Facebook or something like that, right? When they get the total, and we'll discuss that more. But even then, like I didn't ask them the total. I wanted to go like around about how did you get to this figure anyway?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, in that case, then, like I said, I just want to know more about the update, then, just to see if there is any more work. Because
that's where I got caught up in the question about money. You're right. So the answer to that and what I took away from it, and Erin and Jason are really they're really been optimistic. Like I'm really cynical. Like I tell people I'm a realist, but I mean that's just like camouflage for a pessimist, right? But I would be worried about, okay, what's next, and they are more on the side of, okay, we're happy this is good and done, and maybe something's going to happen in the future, but we're just not going to worry about that right now. So probably the right line of thinking is somewhere in the middle, and I pushed back on them a little bit there. I was like, yeah, but man, you're young. If you're going to make that decision, you need to make it now, so you can get that. You can have the young body to repair, right, itself or whatever. So my answer to that is who knows, right? Okay, so yeah, does that answer it well?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, that pretty much wraps it up for me. So, in your opinion, like I said, we already asked the first question, and I'll ask it again. So, do you feel that this is vetted, and are you putting it out there for everybody else?
Yeah, I mean, look, nobody. Who am I right now? Like, who am I for you to trust other than this guy that just says, "Hey, I'm starting this podcast about trusting people to donate to." Like I could be fucking mob boss. Like I don't know. Like I could be orchestrating all these puppets. But no. Like yes, if you trust that I am not that guy, if you trust that in my my apartment here is not some mansion. And I'm not orchestrating a grand scheme, then yes, I absolutely trust him, and I'm going to donate him when I get off, right, or when this is over. I should have done it already, and honestly, I just forgot, dude. I had the baby last night, and he got up normal times. He wasn't bad or anything, but that still means not sleeping very much, So
well, for somebody who just had a baby, you look very fantastic, very good.
It's the cocoa butter. I like to rub it on my tummy. It really helps.
Well, that's pretty much on my side right there.
All right, so yeah, that's it for that. So the donate, I made the tiny URL, Shad, and it's on the Facebook and stuff. I'm pointing to my screen like you guys can see me point at the little square. But it's a lot easier than the big long link from GoFundMe, or then when Facebook reroutes it and adds all their PHP code behind it and all that stuff. So I made the tiny URL, and I've shared it out through Facebook. And Porkchop, you'll have to show me how to do the donate buttons here, because I don't know how all that works. And then the website, guys, check out the website. I welcome feedback on it. I like the look of it. I got some broken things. I'm going to take like the search away, and I'm going to make that the contact and the donate buttons, and then the other buttons on the left, some of them are stretched too thin. I got to resize them to make it work. But after
the notes that I have for the website is needs more lolcats and more memes.
Okay.
Right there. Memes, underlined.
Okay. All right, so here's what's going to happen now. That is the goodwill portion of the podcast. Memes. We need memes. That's the goodwill portion of the podcast right there. So it's a good day, a good sunshiny Wisconsin day over here in podcast land. So we're going to pass it over to Porkchop. We do have some intro music for him. I think you might enjoy the intro. It was put together by Porkchop. By the way, I want you guys to understand. All right, I'm going to stop the voice. So,
that's another thing that we do. We do voices.
There'll be voices. So, yeah, so we're going to play his intro music, and I'm going to switch some things behind the background, but it's only going to be like a minute maybe. But in the future, the one feedback I can give right now is include chat on the stream. Before it's Lincoln, I want to take you to K-Bar, do the Chicago. Oh man, Chicago accent? Chicago is like Polish sausage. Yeah, it's like all I can do okay, so here's the thing. I can do the accent, but only I can't just speak. Yeah, exactly. It's Dabars. You know, Coach Ditka. Trick question. Ditka is a god. You know,
Ditka is God.
Ditka is a god. Yeah. So like that's one problem I have with my voice is that, and I'll start off with like Russian, and then it'll end up Irish somehow before I'm even done with the sentence. Like, yeah, but there's like there's the old church lady and Sunday school Thomas, which is like the red letters are when Jesus talks.
I remember that.
Going to Sunday school. So yeah. Anyway, so we'll do that, and in the future that'll be maybe where we can get some advertisement, and then Porkchop will take it over. All right.
Now, are we about to do a break and then go into it, or are we going to go straight into it?
No, let's go straight into it because we're already.
Okay.
Let's don't stop. Right. We're an hour and 17 minutes in. That interview was way longer than what I thought. All right, so which one did you want first?
Just go ahead and do.
You want Pep and then Wham, or you want ABBA and Wham?
Just go ahead and start with Wham, and then we'll go right on into it.
Okay, all right. This is us trying to be super fancy, guys. This is our transition effect. I made that blink on accident.
You got to remember, my stream is like 10 seconds behind, so.
Okay, so I was trying to move things around in the background, and then I realized I can't move things around in the background because I got that in front of it. So it doesn't work that way. All right, so let me move this. Oh, and then somebody can tell me a way to get this.
Well, I'll go ahead and start up while you're moving this stuff around. All right. What you just heard.
So okay, hold on. if this was done correctly and I had like 2 different presets to choose from, I'm sure that's the way that I should have done, right? Yeah. But like after the wham, here, let's do this again. Right? No, we're gonna do this.
God.
No, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this again. You're gonna get the proper intro. You're getting the proper. Daddy. You're getting the proper intro. You have worked very hard for this. Okay.
And he keeps saying wham, but it's supposed to be wham.
Whatever.
So.
All right. Shh. Intro. They don't know that you're about to come in. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you what some have dubbed the 7th, no, the 8th wonder of the world. He is a man. Yes, he's a man. I know that may seem unacceptable to you guys because you think of him as a god, but he is wonderful and you should all praise his name. It is Porkchop. Here you go. That was weak. That was weak. That was weak. I was trying to come up with something good, and I just failed.
It's okay. Yeah. It's okay. Yeah. You tried.
There you go. The man, the myth, the legend, Chun-Li, the Porkchop, upskirt, our beautiful lovers, here today, one night only, until the next podcast, Porkchop. There you go. Thank you for that.
All right. So, thank you for the introduction. What you just heard, those 15 notes that are pretty much famous throughout the entire world, is the beginning of the Godzilla theme. It only takes 15 notes for you to be able to recognize the thing, but it's a powerful, and it's already got the imagery.
That tune in 3 notes.
I know, right? Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up.
From the 80s and before we'll know that reference. Or kids from the Show Network that are weird.
The reason why I brought that up is because there is a Kickstarter for a well, let's go ahead and give you some information real quick. Godzilla started about 1954, and since then has had 32 Toho era films with 3 Hollywood era films. There's been 3 different cartoons, Saturday morning cartoons. 2 were regular, children age. 1 was called Godzilla Land that I had no of, and it was like a preschool. It was like preschool stuff. There's been multiple Netflix specials.
Oh, dude, those new Godzillas, man, they're good. Like, it took me back to my anime heyday. That, and they've got Ultraman now. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Because, okay. Anyway, sorry.
And then there's a new Godzilla movie that's supposed to.
For this, he's guessing. Is this a Kickstarter to get a sequel to Matthew Broderick Godzilla?
You know good and damn well that he only needed 1 because it was perfect.
Because
okay?
It was perfect. Matthew Broderick is perfect. The Producers was the film that defined my life. Okay. He wasn't the Producers remake, right? With Nathan Lane?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. But the new Godzilla movie, it's Monster Island. Spoilers, it's supposed to have Godzilla versus King Kong. Watch for that. But the reason why I bring this up is because every year there's this convention called G-Fest. And G-Fest has been going on since 1994.
I feel I shouldn't Google G-Fest. I'm just saying, I feel it's not something, it's like, it's rule whatever of the internet, don't Google it, right? Like, okay.
Don't Google it, yeah. But G-Fest has been going on since 1994, and it started off just a really small community getting together and just talking about kaiju. Since then, every year,
Saints.
Yes. Oh, okay. Ever since then, it has actually grown, and it's actually G-Fist. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. All right.
Maybe we should turn the chat off next time.
Yeah, maybe next time.
We get so sidetracked. All right.
But about 3 years ago, from 2014 to 2017, they would do this concert that was pretty much they would play random songs and different themes of the different Godzilla movies, different kaiju movies like Gamera and King Ghidorah, and all the different types of themes. So they would actually have a serious orchestra come in and just blast these tunes.
I'm trying not to read their comments. I'm reading them. It is valuable.
Well, for the past couple of years, they just didn't have the money. They didn't have the money, they didn't have the time, or they didn't have the resources to get the orchestra to actually back together. Well, this year, they're going to try to do it again. And they're going to need your help on Kickstarter to actually try to raise the money. I think they got a goal of about 50,000, and right now they are sitting at about 39,000. I'm not sure on the time. I think they have some time because the thing is in July, but I think they're trying to wrap it up by May or so.
Okay.
Well,
we'll get the
what
links. By the way,
yeah.
we'll get because that's one thing I failed to do is get your links for the stuff for the cards that are going across. So we'll get the links and put them on social media.
Okay. So this event that they're going to be doing is called Kaiju Crescendo. And I think that is just a wonderful play on words. Because first of all, you got the kaiju, you got your monsters, and then you got crescendo, which is your loud music. So it's just, you bring it together, and it makes sense.
Well, loud. So crescendo is like the height of the music, right?
Yeah.
So it's not. It's the height of everything, and then it's all been leading up to this point, and then it tapers off, right? So yeah, that's cool.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the high point. I got you.
So the person really bringing it all together right now, and I'm going to say this, and I know that
Very kaiju Christmas sounds like a rave in New Orleans.
It really does. I say this on Save State Heroes a lot, and I'm going to say it here now. I'm going to try to say
There you go. Thank you.
I'm going to try to say something. I'm pretty sure I'm going to say it wrong, but it doesn't stop me from saying it anyway. Now, Michiru Hoshishima wants to hear from you. In this Kickstarter, she wants to know, what cues do you want to hear the most? So as you're able to give, you can actually give part into the.
You knock over beer cans?
No, it's a Mountain Dew
Code Red. Mountain Dew Code Red. Yep.
It was.
Yep.
I did.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I did. But as you're able to give, you can actually take part, and if there's so many people who want to hear this song, she'll play that part of that song. And if you want to hear this song, she'll play that. So that's what I like about this Kickstarter, is that it's not just, hey, give me money. It's, hey, give me money and give me pointers.
Okay.
Last couple things is it's split down into different groups for the nice product placement.
I told you guys we're going to whore ourselves out to the advertisers on this part, man. Like, you give us all the money you want to.
It's important to realize that if you're going
to Big Red. Fuck you.
Yeah. It's important to realize that if you're going to give to the Kickstarter, there's certain tiers that will cancel out the others. Usually in a Kickstarter, if you give the $30, you get the $20 and the $10. You get everything, that. But in this situation,
it's a top tier down approach.
Yeah. In this situation, there are different licensing that they're having to deal with, because this is not an official Toho or a Hollywood. This is a fan thing, so they actually have to deal with certain licensings. Well, anything past the $30, you don't get the digital downloads.
Okay, all right. So I've gotten a little lost, and I just I want to backtrack for a second, right? So I understand what the festival is for. Magnum and the wonderful folks at Sing It Mutual of Omaha. You can count. Yeah, we were talking about what is it? LegalZoom. We're gonna get some LegalZoom.com. That's right. Anyway, some Audible. Let me get some of that Audible podcast money. you know, so, but who is this? So we got into this realm of sound files and music. I lost where that came into play. Like, where does, I mean, I know I get the crescendo, you know, like the apex, but where is the,
okay,
where
for the different,
how does that help out put on this festival, right?
Okay, well, in the situation of the tiers, you get certain bonuses for giving the money. I think it was, if you started out at $15, it gave you like a PDF. You started off at a PDF.
Let me get my electric toothbrush.
You started off at a PDF
we use
file
Quip here in the office.
Bring it together.
Sorry.
All right. At $15, you started off with like a PDF file of the actual like handout that would actually go with the orchestra.
I think Bud Knight is saying we're crashing and burning because of mayhem.
Yeah. But you also got a MP3 of certain performances. Then it went to the next step where you would get an MP3 of the entire performance, and you would get the PDF. But once you got to the $30 one, it became a physical media. Okay. Like you would actually get a CD of the songs. Okay. And the reason why that media takes different is because, like I said, the licensing. Like they had the certain licenses for the MP3s and certain licenses for the CDs. And it's cheaper to give the MP3 than it is to give the physical. But the more higher you went with the physical, you would get things like, the highest thing they did was like, I think it was like $3,000. But you actually got signed by the composer who actually worked on Godzilla movie.
Yeah, a Godzilla movie. That's cool. That's cool. That's really cool.
And the thing that it was a bit of composition that he did as a tribute that they would be performing. So not only would it be something that was signed by the composer, it would be the composer of the movie, his own works, and it would have been used that night. Oh, so, cool. I mean, there's still...
Cool. Yeah. So you're talking about like sheet music or something like that? Then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's cool. So, all right. So I think that you've made it. Just go ahead and emphasize for me, like you're into this because you love Godzilla. So just
yes.
So why why do you love Godzilla so much? What fanboys you about Godzilla?
What I like about Godzilla and what I like about the kaiju is that kaiju in Japanese just means strange beast. And I don't know if you know about me. I'm pretty strange.
No, I don't know. I just met you yesterday.
I know, right? I'm pretty strange. But I like the idea of practical effects. People in suits. People who actually use puppetry instead of using imagery. Claymation
you're
of
a
80s.
Traditionalist, and
yes.
You love the traditionalists.
Yes.
The things you grew up on.
Yes, and of the Toho productions, it's always been the same guy up until last year because he passed away, and that's sad too. But it's always been the same guy in that suit since 1954, and that's what I like.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's cool, man.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. That's kind of like and look, I love Star Wars, okay, but I forget who plays people sometimes. But whoever plays Chewie and what's that guy's name that plays Chewie?
I don't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Warwick Davis. It's Warwick Davis. It's Warwick Davis. Willow. It's Willow.
It's Willow. It's Willow.
Yeah, I'm waiting on Dark Butt or Nex to like tell me that I'm stupid and this is what it is. Anyway, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. All right. So now that we know, all right, Porkchop's super fanboy for Godzilla, and this is why do you think people who, you know, maybe all right, they're just general nerds, or maybe like they got some kids or something like that, but they're, you know, they've never really been into it.
What's my draw?
Awesome, dude. They're gonna remake Willow a Herd. Mad Mardigan. Like, dude, Val Kilmer. By the way, sidetrack. Dude, Val Kilmer doesn't give a shit about anything anymore. Like, Val Kilmer is like, he was Batman, and now he's the Penguin. It's freaking okay. but I mean, hey, the man can do what he wants with his life, I guess. You know, I mean,
Well, you either die the hero or see yourself become the villain.
This is that's a good reference. Good job. Good job. I like that. Where were we getting at? So, why would somebody else?
The draw?
Yeah, the normal.
What's the draw
for the normal person?
For the normal person, this is one performance.
That should be a comic book.
This is one performance in a weekend of situation. Like G-Fest has, it's pretty much just and I hate to use the word comic book convention, but if I say the word comic book convention, you're going to understand what I mean. It's a convention like that for just kaiju, like Ultraman, and Godzilla and Pacific Rim. They have all these different things. They give
what I like about us all this Val Kilmer stuff now. We'll check it out. Okay. All right. So no, I get it. Like they've all kind of become the same, right? Like being here in Salt Lake and seeing all the video on YouTube from like San Diego and New York and stuff. Like it appeals to kids, Power Rangers and mechs and shit. Yeah, that's totally true. Yeah, I mean Kaiju Big Battle. I remember you used to tell me about that show you used to watch.
Oh yeah, I love Kaiju Big.
And then, that's how you got on. No, that was Mexican wrestling. The time you got on Adult Swim on a bump, right? Like
the Mongo Wrestling Alliance.
Yeah, the Mongo Wrestling Alliance. Yeah, you do that another time. But so it's the normal.
That's for the Patreon.
Other than the theme is Godzilla, but everything else would be legitimate. You can meet people, you can get stuff signed. Yeah, next he'll tell you about it later. Yeah, he was on Adult Swim Bump. He'll send you the link on Bump from Bumpworthy. Trust me, he sent it to me several times. But he was not only the bump, he was the promo for the show. His bump was the promo for the show. Adult Swim's answer, prove it. Yeah. You don't think I remember everything about my best friend there? Oh, I remember. No, I'm not gonna. I don't really. It was gonna be just something made up. I'm not really. Yeah. Anyway, It was what was the name of the what was the name of the show? What was the name of the show?
Mongo Wrestling Alliance.
Yeah, so Porkchop posted up, I will support Mongo Wrestling Alliance no matter what. And I swear and their answer was prove it. And then it became the promo for the show for that week. Anyway, all right. So there you go. There's the answer. It's on Bump.
All right, so finish up the draw is that even if you like certain things, like if you like certain kaiju over certain things, like if you're an Ultraman and I'm looking at you, SSH over there, I'm looking at you, Gecko. If you're into Ultraman, they got stuff for you. If you're into Godzilla, they got stuff for you. If you're into like video games and stuff, there's been kaiju video games. There's Rampage and just all these different things. They got film screenings, video game tournaments, children activities, and they even have an award ceremony that I think is just hilarious. It's called the Mangled Skyscraper Award. Beautiful. So, if you're there for the weekend, might as well take in some culture in the middle of all this pandemonium.
No, I like it. I like it. So, okay, so what's the minimum that you can give?
And minimum that you can give was $15, and you get the PDF of the handout. I don't think it's the actual but it's kind of like
the welcome. It's the welcome packet, and you get the PDF of it. I got you. Okay.
And then you get MP3s of certain songs.
So which tier do you think is worth the money? Right? Which tier do you think?
I'm going to give you two answers on this, and the two answers go like this right here. If you're into the t-shirts, if you're into like wearing t-shirts and all like that, $50. $50 gets you the t-shirt. It gets you a CD. It gets you some other handouts that I'm just not remember on. And I'm sorry, I don't remember, but that's pretty much, if you're into t-shirts, $50.
Okay. So that's good. So that's something like, that's something that a middle class person, I guess, if they wanted to spend some money on extra for themselves, could afford and get something cool out of it. Kind of like a loot crate for one payment or something. I like that. I do. Okay. So that's the first one. And I know you had something else. So,
the second one then is if you've got the money, and I will go to the website real quick so I can just read it real quick. For $500, no, $1,000 or more, it's called the concert producer level. You get pretty much everything they can give you: T-shirts, CDs, merchandise, and all like this right there. But you actually get the signed conductor score from Michiru Oshishima, new musical piece, exclusively only to this performance. Like, it has never been heard before. It's like this. So this would actually be sheet music he used at conductor, signed by him. He's famous in the Godzilla productions. I believe he was in Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla and Son of Godzilla. So that's 1967 and 1974.
Nice.
That's, yeah.
Nice. And look, I'm going to say I'm not a big Godzilla fan. Like, I am for these new animes, right? And but I wasn't, and they're going to excoriate me for this, but I just was not into kaiju until I got older. I wasn't into Power Rangers. I was into cartoons. I just wasn't into the live suits. I know. There it is. Damn, son. Right? So, Fat Water Bottle Ninja. What were we talking about? Fat Water Bottle. Okay. Well, we'll have to come back to that. So, all right, cool. So, yeah, I mean, if you got the money and you're a super fanboy, that package is worth it.
$1,000.
Okay.
Fantastic.
I got you. Okay.
In my conclusion, is this for me? Yes. Do I feel like it's for everybody? Yes.
It's got enough of the normal stuff.
There's enough for everybody in this situation.
Okay.
So yeah. Do I feel it's for me? Yes. Do I feel it's for everybody else? Yes.
And you said this probably
Chicago.
Okay, and in July sometime. Okay.
I believe so. Yes.
All right, so we'll put that as part of an update too, and we'll notate it, and Porkchop can update that end of things when he gets that information. Okay, so let's move on to number 2.
Number 2.
Yeah.
All right. So back in the day, everybody's had to read a specific book at their school. Everybody's had to have read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. It came out in 1818. Okay. It's one of those, it's entry level. It's easy enough that everybody can read it. It's a classic. It's a part of that gothic horror feel. Everybody, when you say the words Frankenstein, we think of the monster, the creature, right? But Frankenstein itself was actually the doctor.
Okay, so here we go, right? Do we actually think that anymore? Because there's enough TV shows and annoying people like yourself out there that like to remind us that Dr. Frankenstein was the doctor and the monster, Frankenstein's monster, had no name, right? So, all right.
Do we need it? Maybe not. Am I going to do it? Yes, I am.
Where the Red Fern Grows? Man, that was my favorite book as a kid. That was the first adult type book I read when I was 3rd grade, and then I had the movies. Did you know there was a Red Fern Grows movie 2? Yeah.
Yes.
It's the same freaking story, only now he's an adult and he's doing the exact same thing, except the second dog doesn't die. Spoiler alert. He's come back from World War II or World War I or something like that, and he's lost his way. Anyway, so just.
I would like to bring up to Dark Butt, if I may.
Yeah, I know. And you know what? No, I'm not going to say that. There might be a kid listening to this. I'm not gonna say that. Frankenstein
Dark Butt.
Monster. Yes, he is.
Dark Butt, you like to bring up that we may need to consult the Monster Mash, but real talk. If you listen to the Monster Mash is not the dance. It was never the song or the dance they did. It was only a retelling of the thing. So even though we've heard Monster Mash, we've never heard.
It's like the song. It's like the greatest song ever written tribute. It's not.
It's a tribute.
Song. It's a tribute to the song. It is him telling the story of these times these monsters did a mash, and you dance to that story. That's true. Yeah. Okay. All right. Continue. All right. So let's move on.
So the book became a movie, and a Universal movie in 1931. When we think of Frankenstein, that's who we think of. We think of Boris Karloff as the creature. So going along those lines of just the classic monster creature. Monster creature.
Concert tickets are like $150 a piece too. Anyway, go ahead.
There's been different media types There's been cartoon variations of Frankenstein. There's been musical. I mean, if you want to talk about all these different things,
There's
but
been a lot
it
of
had
Frankenstein stuff, right? There's
Yeah,
a cereal. There's a
been.
cereal. Yeah, I got
Yeah.
you. Okay, go ahead.
And there's been more than one board game
Yeah.
throughout the time. But this one that's coming out right now
I had
really
a Game
caught my.
Boy Frankenstein's mansion or something like that.
That's
Frankenstein's
pretty cool.
house. Yeah, it was on my Game Boy. Anyway, go ahead.
There is a board game coming out through a company called Invaders that are in Barcelona, Spain. And this is one of those, it's a tabletop game. And I'm going to give you the short and then I'll go into the long. The short is you're trying to get all the pieces first to make a creature. I think it's 8 parts that you have to get together, and it's all a shuffled stack. So that's your main goal, is to try to create the creature. You yourself are Frankenstein, and you have minions running around getting the stuff for you. Now, where it gets complicated, and this is something I like. Entry level into the actual Kickstarter, you get the base game.
Okay, before we go there, right? I want that to be the last thing you talk about.
Okay.
I wonder if Pomegranate Bats or Dr. Fox are part of the credits for it. I don't know who those people are.
They're from Save State Heroes. They're from Spain.
Okay. Only Chun would get that. Okay. Yeah, he answered before he got the stream lag of me asking the question. Woo, it's a paradox. Woo. Exodia only needs 5 cards. Okay, so like I want you to tell me what what it is about this that really fanboyed you on it, right? Not necessarily like Godzilla, because I knew Godzilla is what fanboyed you there, but on this itself, is it the Frankenstein mythos, or is it something else, right?
This is a take,
like on the game itself or something, the gameplay.
This is a take on the idea. It's not the 100% involvement. It's not going to be, oh, the castle, oh, Igor, oh, it's not going to have all that. This is just you in the laboratory trying to get the creature together real quick. You're just it's like over the process of one night.
Okay.
Trying to get the pieces together. So yeah. Okay. Is it 100% Frankenstein? No. Is it enough that it counts? I believe so. Another thing is that it's tabletop, and I've been recently getting into tabletop, and I've realized there is more board games out there than we think. Like when we think of board games, it's pretty much Parker Brothers. It's,
yeah. I mean, do you mean we in the general public, or do you mean like we as in you and I?
The public.
Okay, yeah. I would totally get with you on that. Yeah, but I would say, because even as someone that doesn't play any of those kinds of games, like I'll play an RPG and on the Xbox or something, right?
Oh yeah,
but
so many times.
Yeah, and he's right. But I mean, even I, like as a general nerd, know that okay, there's a lot of these games out there, and people devote months to playing them and building sets and stuff, right? So I mean, so that's what you're saying is like that's what you're really fanboying out on is you really enjoy that aspect of this new thing that you found that you like.
Yeah.
Okay. So all right. So now general public, like. And I feel like this is a lot of my favorite is Secret Hitler. I'll have to figure that one out. That
it's an actual game.
I know what he means. It's an actual game. I'll have to Google it. But so like as I don't want us to always stay in the realm of nerdy when it comes to this kind of stuff, right? Because I want like somebody who doesn't watch Star Wars to like stuff, right? So let's say as the average family that's like, I'm tired of playing, Monopoly all the time, and I want to play one of these good tabletop games, and this is the one I'm looking at. You are the secret Hitler. So like that part of it, like what would you think would draw just the average family of 4 to play this game on a Saturday, or something?
It's actually interesting that you said 4, because up to 5 can actually play this. An average
5, you
family,
say?
up to 5 can actually play, which is actually pretty good considering tabletops.
Hey.
I mean, because there's only so many pieces of equipment out there that you can hand out, But
there's nothing better than like the third wheel being able to be a part of something.
Exactly.
You got 2 couples and the guy that's in his 30s and sad and lonely that comes over for game night. He gets to he gets to play too, right? So okay, yeah.
Hey guys, you mind if I play Frankenstein?
Hey, can I come play Frankenstein, guys? I did just watch Game Night for the first time the other day because it was on HBO to watch for free, so that probably is why I thought of that. Anyway, yeah, go ahead. Like, so what brings normal people in?
It's a fast-paced game, so you're not drawn into something that's going to. It's not Risk. You're not going to be set down for like the night.
Okay.
They estimate that if you play it, it's about
Nick said my thing was a little close to home. Yeah, it's a little close to my home too, buddy.
They say that if you play it, the estimated time of play ranges between 30 minutes and about 45 minutes. So less than an hour, you've already gotten deep into this game, completed and whatnot. What I like about it is that in the game, it's not just random luck and random draw, because that's what games are. You shuffle the deck, you do. There are certain cards in the deck that are kind of hazards. Like maybe there's an angry mob that takes a turn away from you, or maybe there's like a thief that steals something from you. So every card isn't just going to give you a piece.
Hey, roll back just a little bit.
Okay.
Just roll back from your desk or whatever, just a little bit.
Okay. All right, is that better?
Yeah, because you're getting so intense, and I feel like, I don't know, I owe you money or some shit. Like,
I got you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. It's just that
money
my
to the
notes.
Frankenstein game.
I got the notes.
Money
And
to
I got to
the
read it.
Game.
I got the notes and I got to read it, and then on the screen, and then I got the screen, and it's like it says right here.
Help me, baby Jesus. He does. He is very passionate. He'll tell you I am too, but like I'm way more in your face than that. I just got a camera with a wider angle right now. Anyway, go ahead.
Damn it, Nex is given a meme from Save State Heroes when we created a football team. I would give a coach. I'd give a coach interview every game. And one of the things is he's got a lot of heart. He's got a lot of heart.
You listen to him now. He got a lot of heart. Yep.
Got a lot of heart.
Lots of heart in that boy's chest. Yep. You tell him, coach. Come on, coach. Tell him.
No, like I said, going back, it's 2 to 5 players, ages 10 and up. So your preschoolers, your kindergartners, and certain grade schoolers not really going to be able to play this. There is math involved, so you may need a calculator.
Dude, our children are the future. America has the smartest children. We have the smartest children.
It's a weird way to say China.
Far better than any other children. We have the smartest children, and that's all ages can play. Our 2-year-olds can play. We would let the 1-year-olds, but we feel like, everybody needs a head start. The other countries with their not so smart children. No, we're good. We're importing all their smart children. That's what we're doing. We're just immigrating them all in. Yep. We're Americans that have been here for a while. We're screwed, but that's cool. China, Japan, we want to work with you. We're going to use some weasels as currency. I'm sorry, Ching. Okay, all right, so yeah. All right, so what you're saying is like it's fast-paced, but it's not for everybody because it's got an age range because it is complicated. And, yeah, so, I mean, I like how you didn't really play the Frankenstein angle in there at all, like the build your monster. But, I mean, I think that would like even like if I ever told you the story about the time that I passed the test on the book in AP English and never read the book.
No.
Okay, so the reason why when you mentioned Frankenstein and Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, she says everybody's read the book. I haven't. Because like I got a sign. Okay, so in Miss Callahan's and Tessa Massey, and I know I'm like naming all these West Jones people off. Like Tessa Massey signed my annual. You're the only person I know that can pass a test on a book that they've never read, or make 100 on a test or on a book that they've never read. Because I tried to get the book. I couldn't get the book because everybody had bought the book. And so I checked this copy out from the library, and it ended up being like The Great Adventures, like, for like 5-year-olds on Frankenstein, right? And so I was like, oh, shit. And so, like, I couldn't get a copy of this book.
And so like, the creature went into the castle.
He goes into the castle.
Why you do this?
No, look, hold on. Callahan is a smart woman. I had that woman in my college too. She moved on to be a professor, and she just liked the macabre, and so she would assign like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, like stuff like that, instead of The Great Gatsby. Like it was really a legitimate class. But so the whole time, everybody knows I don't have the book. Everybody knows I don't have the book. She knows I don't have the book. Like whatever, right? But it's like the whole quarter, that second quarter of the semester, from like whatever October to December or whatever, right? Like that's what this whole quarter's about. And so like we got to take this test on this book that I've never read. And I told her, and she was like, you're never gonna pass this test. And I was like, well, oh yeah, in general, yeah, next, you're right. So, and she's like, you're never gonna pass my test. It's impossible. I was like, no, I'm gonna pass your test. I'm gonna make 100 on it. She's like, you can't. All right. Well, I pay attention. Like if you don't have to read the book. You go the study guides, the summary, they go over every inch of that book, and you just take notes on what everybody else is saying the whole time, right? So I took the test, and like when it's all said and done with, a couple days later, she comes back with the graded papers, and she lays mine on my desk upside down, and like I turn the page over, and there's 100, and she just has this look of disbelief on her face, like I can't, it's impossible, like I don't understand, and I just like jumped up and yelled so loud that I don't remember which there was like 2 teachers came in because they thought something was wrong, and everybody was laughing and stuff. Anyway, and then Tessa Massey put that in my annual, in my yearbook. So even that, like that's my Frankenstein story. Like that would draw me in, right? Like I really like Frankenstein. Like I like the idea of it. Just build your own body part, like that, or build your own monster out of the body parts. My kid has a game on his tablet that's what he does. That's cool. I like it. All right,
Let me give you a quick rundown.
Yeah, let's get back on track and talk about the tiers, and then we can wrap all this up.
All right, the official announcement says, play mad scientists competing to create the first life through the power of alchemy. Each turn, you may buy the offered body part, sell it to one of the other players, or auction it, trying to get the better deal.
So it plays like Monopoly, like home rules in, like, oh, I'll trade you this for that, or I'll pay you that for this, right? Like, so it gives it a lot of open space with that, right? I like that. It's like, it pretty much says, look, you can make outside deals. It's okay. Like, okay.
You may get lucky and get a coffin that has a bunch of cadaver parts in it. So you may be losing completely, and all of a sudden you get a coffin that's got a bunch of parts in it. Okay.
Oh, cool. So you can so luck plays a lot into it.
Or your involvement in the macabre may invoke the villager's wrath. So, like I said, you have the danger card. So not everything.
I got you. There's your luck. Yeah, you can either get a lot of cool stuff that can save you, or you could just get crapped on. I got you.
Now, this is where it gets exciting. Okay, this, like when I first found this. It was April 2nd, I believe I found it. Okay. Their goal is April 31st. I mean, April 30. Yeah, April 30. They got completely funded within days. Like by the time that we went to broadcast right here, they're already paid off. They're already paid off. So much so that one of their collector sets is completely sold out. And like you can't even get that anymore.
Nice. I'm guessing that was like one of the top tier things.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's go through the tiers, and I'll tell you what comes with it.
Okay.
19 euro, which is $21 USD.
Okay, you don't have to do that. I mean, currency changes, so they can do that on their own. But go ahead.
Okay. All right. So for 19 euro, you get a basic content, which includes 60 cards.
And the euro's gonna crash when Brexit happens in the EU and Putin invades Lithuania.
I'm just starting off countries now.
You get 5 player screens, which is good because you don't want everybody knowing exactly what you have. Because if and this is just coming out of me, if I knew that Thomas needed a leg desperately to win the game, and the leg itself had a price of 3 gold.
Handwriting for a serial killer.
Yeah, you're right. If I knew that
Neil, I don't want to start any rumors or anything, but I did hear that Porkchop was a Mexican drug smuggler. I don't want to start any rumors.
I mean, if it comes to being, man, I can't tell you. I can't tell you that it's wrong, man.
But the way I say is, if you block off what you're playing, it's that what is it? Oh, capitalism with the supply and demand.
Yeah.
You know, the market.
Yeah. All right, we're getting off track. Yeah. So all right. So tell me about the tiers. Yeah. So all right, first tier, go.
You get the 5 screens, the 5 player mats, which are going to have the parts that you need to create the entire monster.
So like the basic game.
Yeah.
Okay.
40 coins in denominations.
$20, by the way, isn't that bad. I just want to say that. Like $20 just to buy a game and try it out. Like there are expansions I've bought them as gifts, so there are expansions for those tabletop games that are more than $20. Like that's cool.
But the denominations of money are in 1s and 3s, and it's important to note that if you see one of the game cards, the different body parts are actually different prices. So one may be 7, one may be 5. So it's one of those things where you're going to have to use math and economy to actually get profit to actually buy.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I got you.
For 35 euros, you get the entire pack of everything that just happened, but you also get the mini expansion pack that has a smaller it's a board, and there is a mini bust of Frankenstein's creature that you go along, and it's a complete circle, but it goes from like there's a thief in the graveyard, or there's an angry mob. So every rotation could be a different danger.
No, I got you. I got you. Yeah.
And that, like I said, that comes with the Frankenstein bust, and it's called bone colored because it just looks like aged ivory,
Yeah.
For 49 euro, which is this is the one that I told you was completely sold out.
Okay.
49 euro, you get all of that, but you also get another full colored bust of Frankenstein, the creature. You get simulated.
You get 2. So you get one that you could play with, and then one that you could just like keep and be like, oh
yeah,
okay.
A simulated aged notebook that would look like Dr. Frankenstein's, handwriting and notes that come with expansion rules, design sketches, game art, and other illustrations. And like I said, that edition completely sold out.
Yeah, it's really nice for you to tell me something about something I want that I can't get. I appreciate that.
I'm sorry.
Oh, Porkchop, the cock tease of nerd information. There you go. Thanks.
They ship internationally, but different countries are going to have different shipping. So even though you would have paid $21,
the shipping does play in. I got you. And international shipping. So, but was that the top tier, or is there another tier past that?
No, it was just those 3. It was just those.
Oh, so that's where you talking about the 1s and 3s. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, cool, man. Like that. Actually, I like that. That's cool.
Anyone who buys something, expect fulfillment by November 2019.
Okay, November. Okay, all right. So yeah, so that I guess let's just recap the two things. Just so like the G fist, ha 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 ha.
Wait. In conclusion, is this for me? I don't know if it's for me. Is it for others? Definitely. I don't, because I'm not used to this kind of tabletop. I may grow into it. I may good, but right now, as of this moment, is it for me? I'm going to say
so. Like on like we were talking about this, like giving it 4 pork chops and a ham bone, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
okay, so like would you spend the like it probably with shipping like maybe $35-$40, right? To get the base edition and get it sent over. Right? Would you spend that money on it? Is that what?
Yeah, I would go. I would go for the basic. I'd go for the basic.
Okay, so on a pork chop scale, right? Like, what do you give it?
Yeah, on a pork chop scale, I give this an arm and a leg and torso out of a full body.
An arm and a leg and a torso out of a full body. So
yeah.
We don't have any Sal's ears in there then, huh? So
no,
nothing negative. Nothing negative. It'll sustain you, but you're not gonna like present it for Christmas dinner, right? Is that what you're getting at?
Right, like I said, everything is there, but I don't know if it's for me. Okay. Is it for everybody else? I would think there's somebody out there who's gonna love this. Yes.
Okay. So just to recap, what you presented. So G Fest, which is the Godzilla Convention.
The Kaiju Crescendo.
Yeah, okay. And then you had all the tiers for that. And basically, if you get the ultimate tier, you get all the music from the original composer and autographed sheet music that was used that night. And then the lower tiers, you can get the music, or you can get even just the handout or the PDF of it. So
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And
Frankenstein.
Oh yeah, what was the name of the game exactly? Is it
Frankenstein?
It is Frankenstein.
It's called Frankenstein.
Okay, so Frankenstein is a tabletop game that's about building your own monster, and the basic tier is about $23 US, and depending on exchange rates at the time, I'm sure, and then shipping, and then so maybe about $40 you can get this game and check it out. And Porkchop is linking both in the chat there. And then, so to recap the beginning just to go back to Jason and Erin, right? You can see the tiny URL. It just scrolled by, so it'll scroll by again. We got the links on the social media, and but they, $5,000 is what their Kickstarter's at, or not Kickstarter, their GoFundMe campaign's at, and I checked it before the podcast. They're like at $435, I think. So that money, they're pretty legitimate. Like, I mean, the guy is not rich, and he was not like he was out of work. I mean, I just wanted to recap that. I mean, he was working part-time, and he was going to school to be a machinist. So he was in trade school working part-time at the place he would be a machinist at. And now he is full-time, and his probationary period has not ended, so his insurance didn't kick in, and this emergency came up, right? So, but they're not rich. They need the help, and whatever you guys can give, we can give them $1, whatever, man. Like, I'll put the link in the chat again too. But really, if you guys could help them out, and then if you finally, for me at least, if you guys know anybody else, right? Anybody else, they can get in contact with us via the Facebook page or Twitter, Instagram too. But it's all the usernames are all crowdfunded pod, one word. The website's there, but I don't have any really. I gotta get the contact stuff fixed on the website, like I said. But send them our way, man. Like we really want to help people who deserve it, and we really want to give everybody else just somebody they can go, all right, I can feel okay giving them money, right? So that's it. I think that's gonna be it.
Give them your contact, and then I'll give him my contact, and then we'll just wrap it.
So you can find me on Twitter at Alijreyu. It's ALIJREYU, and then on Instagram, hashtag Utah, all one word. It spell out hashtag, and that's just kind of my photography or whatever, if you guys want to check that out. But so that's it from me. Hopefully in a couple of weeks we'll have another one, and we definitely welcome feedback on any of it. And this will be uploaded to YouTube and archived on Twitch as well. So you guys can definitely, and we'll share the links on YouTube, from YouTube on our Facebook and Twitter, and you guys can share it with whoever.
All right, my contact is on Twitch. You can find me at Orcs Make Beautiful Lovers. My Twitter is 50-foot robot.
Yeah, thanks, Next, man, for real.
Yeah, thank you.
Hopefully, we thank you. I appreciate it, and we appreciate you.
On Save State Heroes, you can find me as Chun-Li Upskirt. Don't judge me. That's my life. That's who I am. And I believe, that's 50-foot robot, Orcs Make Beautiful Lovers, Chun-Li Upskirt.
All right, thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a good night. All that good stuff. Thanks.